Right, good morning. It is the day you've all been waiting for, the day you get to learn about doing corrections. I know, it's very exciting. So today there's no new lessons, so it's going to be very nice. There's just going to be, we're going to walk you through how to do corrections, and then your assignment for the day is to submit corrections for whatever you need. Like you obviously have more than today to do it, but you should submit something to do corrections on today. If you're one of those very, very few who's gotten hundreds on everything, then your correction, I'll give you like a Mr. Roboto version, and you can correct that just to make sure you know how to do corrections. But that doesn't apply to almost any of you, if any of you. So just make sure you are doing corrections on something today, and we'll submit it to the proper place. So the first thing I'm going to send you is the correction policy, which is this form over to the left. It'll be an uneditable Word document that you may not steal, because like it won't let you. So it's just a policy. So basically, it's gonna be very similar to what we do in school. I'm actually gonna share with you the same correction form I had in school, but now it's a Google Doc and hopefully a bit more friendly to online. Um, and the major difference is obviously that these are virtual. We're not gonna actually like be sitting in school doing it. You can't like hand write stuff. It's gonna be all typing. So some of the math stuff might get a little funky to do. But it's a great time for you to reach out to me with questions if you have any, like, hey, Mr. Roboto, that's a graph, like, how do I make that? So just let me know if there's anything that you're having trouble with on doing that. You do need to be very detailed to show that you know what you did wrong and what you have now learned. Because with a multiple choice question, just picking the right answer is not corrections. Picking the right answer is like, okay, someone told me the answer, or in your answer feedback, Mr. Roboto told you the answer. You have to say why that answer was wrong and why the new one's right. So I'll show you examples of good corrections and examples of bad corrections throughout the video so you can see what I'm looking for and what you have to do. Make sure you give your assignment an important title because keep in mind, 98 kids, an assignment every day, and about 5 kids a day get hundreds, which means I could have 90 different ones of these coming in every day. Please, for the love of all goodness gracious, put your name and the date of the assignment in the title, so I don't have 27,000 things called copy of distance learning revision form, or it's going to take even longer to get the grades back. All right. Yeah, so basically on the form somewhere you have to show what your incorrect answer was and your new answer. Copy paste on the computer is lovely because if your answer was like a whole long thing, you just copy and paste it. So here's an example. So like you haven't really done exponent properties yet, but if this is your problem, you would write my original answer was this, and then that would probably go over here. My original answer was 10 to the ninth. Okay, now what was my mistake? What did I do wrong? So you need to provide a detailed explanation. So like saying, oh, I thought this, and it turns out that was incorrect. So now I learned that this was what I needed to do. So my mistake was in my original answer, I saw the two different exponents of 7 and 2, I added them together. This was incorrect because these two exponents should be multiplied. So yeah, you haven't actually learned that yet, but this will probably come up in like a week or so. Now, a couple days. So like that's your mistake. You say what you did wrong. And then you say what you should do instead. So like what I should do instead is apply this property. In the future, I'll remember when I see one base and an exponent raised to another exponent, I'll multiply. You don't know that yet, but basically the goal is like you say what you did wrong. Don't say, I got the answer wrong. Well, no duh. That was obvious when the points came off. You have to say why your answer was wrong. And like maybe what you were thinking, like, oh, I added them together by mistake. Oops, I shouldn't have done that. Like just say what your mistake was. It doesn't have to be crazy long. It has to be like a sentence though. I have to get some sort of indication that you know why your answer is wrong. and more importantly, to know what your answer should have been. And when I see one base, just say what process you need to do or what thought process you should have had in that problem. All right, so we'll go through a set of Mr. Roboto corrections. I took one of these forms and didn't do very well on it, so I'm going to go through that and do corrections on my own work for you to see. That way you can all benefit from it. It will be a Math 8 form. I'm very sorry, Algebra. But that's just the way it is. You should be able to still understand what's going on in that form, though. All right, so let's get going on Mr. Roboto's corrections. You can start corrections as soon as I've released the assignment to you. So I just released the assignments for April 6th to April 7th for Math 8, and Algebra has all their assignments back from the week before break. Don't take it personally, those are easier to grade. There's fewer of them, and it was just easier questions to grade. So basically, I want to go through and see every question I got wrong. And sometimes with this correct answer, I'll actually give you some answer feedback, like if you're totally off the mark, or if I think you're not asking about it, I might put in some feedback. I didn't give myself any feedback because I think I can be challenged a little bit. So what we're going to do is just go through problem by problem. Look at all these red X's. That's so discouraging. But still, I was pretty generous with partial credit, so I got 11 out of 21. Even though, to be honest, with corrections in tow, once that policy is in place, you might start seeing less partial credit come in. So be mindful that corrections are there to get you to mastery, whereas before it might have just been points for getting it completed. So write an equation to model the number of 2 seat tables, x, and the number of 4 seat tables, y, that sum to 120 guests in total. So Math 8 was doing their systems of equations unit, and they were sort of wrapping it up. So we had Emily is the owner of a new restaurant. She's ordering tables and chairs. She wants to have only tables for 2 and tables for 4. The total number of people that can be seated in the restaurant is 120. Now, there are different versions of this assignment. So some of you got multiple choice and some of you did not. There's no way to tell who got what. So don't be like, wait a second, mine wasn't multiple choice. Well, that was intentional. So for this equation, I put 4x plus 2y equals 120. And it even gives me the correct answer. So like if you just copy down the correct answers onto your corrections form, like that is obviously not appropriate because I gave you the correct answers. Your goal is now to tell me why is that the correct answer. So I'll show you what an example of bad corrections is. So let's see. And if I'm a mistake in writing, what did I do wrong? Well, okay, you should not just copy down your answer. And this is problem 1. I know, they don't have problem numbers. Just guess, like 1, 2, 3. If you count down, if you lose count, just, I don't know, I'll figure it out. So this is an example of what not to do, okay? This is a great way to get 0 points back. Sorry, my phone's making alerts. So what I did there was I showed the wrong answer. I did not say what I did wrong. Even if I say I picked the wrong answer, well, yes, that was wrong, but that wasn't what was wrong about your thinking. So this is still 0 points back. And I'm going to put that in bold and put it in red because it's scary. Maybe I'll even highlight it in pink because that's ironic. So this is wrong because in the second part, in part B, I didn't show step-by-step details of how I got the correct solution. I just copied it and pasted it. All right. So here's what I should do for problem 1. I got all my points back. So let's see. Part A, identify my mistake in writing. What did I do wrong? So what I did wrong was I selected, and I can just paste the same answer, I think. Yeah. I selected that because, now let's see, what was wrong about that answer? Why is 4x plus 2y equals 120 wrong? Well, if I have x 2-seat tables, there's 2 people at that table, not 4. So it's really 2 guests per table, not 4. So it's wrong because the 4x should have been 2x because each x 2-person table seats 2 people, not 4. So the equation should have 2x, not 4x. Now again, that's one mistake. That's a great start. But now I need to also say, okay, what about the 2y? And I can even say, similarly, 2y should be 4y because y represents the 4-seat tables. And there are 4 people per table. And really, to be honest with you, I kind of combined parts A and B into each other. Like I kind of did my step-by-step details of how to do my correct solution. I kind of did that up top. So if that happens, if you want to just combine this into one long explanation, that's also going to work. I'll put that up here. And when I say a long explanation, I'm not talking about like Mrs. DeLeon's essay assignment. I'm talking about like a few sentences, like 3 sentences maybe. It's nothing crazy. Enough to show me that you didn't just steal the answer from a friend or from this. Like enough to show me you learned and like next time you might get it right. Alright? Oh geez, what am I doing? Need a blooper reel for my videos. Okay. So there's that. So let's see, the 4x should be 2x. I'll highlight that because that's a major point. The 4x should have been 2x. And the 2y should be 4y. That's my correct answers because each x 2-person table seats 2 people. That's another good part of it. And because each y represents 4-seater tables, you do not have to go through and highlight this stuff. Like I'm just kind of trying to highlight the finer points, like the important parts of the explanation. If for some reason you guys still don't want to write an entire sentence, get the important points across. So I selected that, and then let's see. I could just conclude it up by saying, so my answer should have been 2x plus 4y equals 120. And you could even add something that says, like, before that you could say, the 120 was correct because the equation, I can't spell, equation models the number of guests seated in total. You can even say like, well, I did that part right. That was good. Especially those of you who didn't have who had a short answer, not multiple choice, who had to like write the entire equation. So that's fine. Okay, so basically I did all that in one. I'm a pain. I probably should have just separated it for you guys, but I didn't think. So that's what I'm going to do for that. So that's my problem 1 corrections. Let's see. I selected 4x plus 2y equals 1. Let me reread this. I selected 4x plus 2y equals 120. Okay. This was wrong because 4x should have been 2x. Okay, so that's what I did wrong. And then what I could say down in part B, how do I get my correct solution? Well, the orange stuff could really all go down there. So 4x should be 2x because I'm really being confusing about this, aren't I? So 4x should be 2x because each x 2-person table seats 2 people, not 4. So that could be part of my explanation there. And then similarly, 2y should be 4y because y represents the 4-person tables. Get rid of that highlighting. And so my equation should be 2x plus 4y equals 120. All right, so I'll keep going. So problem 2 is, let's see, problem 2 is this one. If Emily is, and if you want, you can even copy and paste the question in the problem number, so I know exactly what you're looking for. If Emily has 24 seat tables, and how many 2-seat tables will she have? So I selected 100. So let me think, what could I have done wrong here? Well, 120, I'm thinking that gets me 120. So I selected 100 because she needs 120 total guests, and 100 plus 20 is 120. So maybe that's what I was thinking. Maybe I was thinking, well, okay, she's 120 people, so she has 20, so I need 100. But really, the problem is that was wrong because she has 24-seat tables, and 24-seat tables seats 20 times 4 people. So that seats 80 people. All right. So now I need to figure out how many people are left to be seated at 4-person tables. So there's 120 people, and keep in mind, so that's my mistake. So now I'm going to go through the correct part. So A is really what did I do wrong, and part B, remember, is now let's do it correctly. Let's show step-by-step answers. I really have already done one of those steps up there too. Where am I? Here I am. Okay. So let's see. We have 80 people. So let's see, there's 120 total people minus 80 gives me 40 people at 40 people at 2-person tables. So it's 40 people at 2-person tables. I have to divide to figure out how many tables there must be. So 40 divided by 2 gives me 20 2-person tables. So that's a good, solid explanation. Like, I said what I did wrong, I said why it's wrong. Those of you who are blind to guessing, you're going to have to come up with some reason why your answer was wrong, besides I blind guessed. Because if I see I blind guessed too many times, it can make me very unsympathetic. And then we said, all right, well, let's figure this out. There's 120 total people. We got rid of the 80 people who are at 4-seater tables. And then that means the remaining 40 people have to be at 2-people tables. So then we divide and said, all right, well, how many tables do I need? So there must be 20, because 40 divided by 2 is 20. So stuff like that is what we want to do, and that'll get your points back. So basically, as with all revisions, you can, let's make this font even bigger. You can earn up to half the missed points back. So it's probably going to reflect mostly just in PowerSchool with a comment saying what your original score was. If you've done revisions before, you know the drill. I know not all of you have done revisions before, even though you all should have done revisions before. It's a very good opportunity if you're like, hey, today's math lesson was short, or I don't have much to do right now. Let me go revise something really quick. even if you only revise like part of it or only know how to do part of the revisions, you can still earn something back, which is going to be great seeing as how your stuff's going to be graded now. And I'm going to throw in a bunch of your graded stuff right before this happens, so you will have something to work on for sure. All right. So I hope that was helpful. Let me see if there's anything else I want to talk about before I wrap this up. A big part of it is showing your work and explaining. I know you have to write, but you have a computer. It should be a little bit easier to write. You have to show the work as best you can. With the exponent stuff, we'll talk about how you can type in exponents Math 8. Actually, and algebra with the exponent stuff too. You're all doing exponent stuff. So we'll talk about that. I think it's safe to say that you're not going to be creating graphs anytime soon. It'll be multiple choice. You have to describe something about the graph. Like just, you will not have to make a graph though. I won't make those correctable things. All right, so give your best try. Submit something for revisions, and good luck. And that's Theodore.